They warned her this cat would never trust anyone. They said those eyes had seen too much, that scowl was permanent, that some animals are simply too far gone to save. They were wrong. The call came on a Wednesday afternoon. Animal control had picked up a gray tabby from a foreclosed house on the edge of town. The previous owner had moved out weeks earlier and simply left him behind. No food, no water, just a wall of matted fur and pure, undiluted contempt for every living thing that came near the door. When Claire first saw his intake photo, she understood immediately why 4 other foster volunteers had already passed on him, their applications withdrawn within hours of meeting him in person. This wasn't just an unfriendly cat. This was disdain given physical form, roughly 12 pounds of judgment wrapped in gray fur. Those green eyes weren't just wary. They were unimpressed, calculating, as though he were personally offended that rescue existed at all, that anyone would dare interrupt his suffering with something as inconvenient as help. His face was locked in what looked like a permanent glare, the exact expression of someone forced to attend a meeting that could have been an email. But something about that face stopped Claire cold. Behind all that contempt, behind those narrowed eyes, was that fear, or was that simply wishful thinking on her part? The shelter director didn't sugarcoat it. His name's apparently Gus. He's scratched 2 volunteers and bitten 1. We're honestly not sure he's adoptable, but we're out of space and out of options. Could you take him for 2 weeks, just so we can say we tried everything we could? Claire had fostered plenty of difficult cats before. Feral cats, traumatized cats, cats recovering from injuries that made them lash out at anyone who came too close. But she'd never had one look at her quite the way Gus did when she loaded that carrier into her car. It wasn't hostility exactly, it was more like profound disappointment, as though Gus had expected better from the universe and Claire was simply the latest in a long line of letdowns. The first 3 days were a standoff. Gus claimed the top of her bookshelf as his personal fortress, glaring down at her with the focused intensity of a landlord reviewing a lease violation. Every time Claire entered to leave food, his ears flattened, his glare deepened, and his entire posture suggested he was drafting a formal complaint in his head, one he fully intended to file the moment he found the right authority. Claire didn't try to pet him. She didn't try to coax him down. She simply sat on the floor and talked about her day, about nothing in particular, about everything, filling the silence he refused to fill himself. I know you can't stand me right now, honestly, that's fair, but I'm not going anywhere, buddy. You're stuck with me. Day 4, something shifted. Claire was sitting on the floor as usual, scrolling through her phone when she heard it, a sound so quiet she nearly missed it. Gus had climbed down from the bookshelf. He wasn't approaching exactly. He was simply standing 8 feet away, watching, his expression unchanged. Claire didn't move. You coming to judge me up close, Gus? His scowl seemed to deepen, but he took 3 steps forward, stopped, then 3 more, his whole body radiating deep suspicion of this decision, as though every step forward was a personal compromise he'd regret later. For nearly 20 minutes, they simply existed in the same room. Gus never softened his expression once, but he stayed. If you've ever looked at something everyone else called hopeless and thought, maybe, if you've ever believed the grumpiest creatures are often just the most guarded, stay with us, because what happens over the following weeks will completely change how you look at the angriest animal in any shelter. By week 2, Gus had developed a routine. He would wait until Claire settled on the couch, then make his way over with theatrical reluctance and sit exactly 4 feet away, close enough to observe, not close enough to be accused of enjoying himself. His face never lost that magnificent grump, but the alarm in his eyes had faded into something closer to mild, ongoing disapproval. The real breakthrough came on day 17. Claire had a rough day, a canceled meeting, a flat tire, the particular exhaustion of everything going slightly wrong at once in ways too small to complain about but too many to ignore. She sat on the couch with her tea, rubbing her temples, probably looking as defeated as she felt. She felt weight settle on the cushion beside her. Gus had moved closer than ever before, still wearing his signature scowl, still visibly unimpressed with the state of the world. But he was there. You judging me too? Yeah, I probably deserve it today. Then Gus did something extraordinary. He stood, took 2 deliberate steps, and sat directly in her lap. Not gently, more like a heavy, disapproving throw pillow that had strong opinions about being moved. His expression didn't change at all. He still looked thoroughly unimpressed. But he started purring, a deep, rumbling sound that seemed to vibrate straight through Claire's chest and settle somewhere she hadn't realized needed settling. Claire's hand hovered over his matted fur, terrified of breaking whatever this was. Gus glanced up with those narrowed eyes as if to say, well, are you going to pet me or just sit there being useless about it? That's when Claire understood something that changed everything. Gus wasn't broken. Gus had simply decided most people weren't worth his effort. And somehow, against every odd, Claire had passed some invisible, extremely demanding test. 3 months later, Claire's apartment has been completely claimed by a 9-pound tyrant who still looks personally offended by daylight itself. Gus sleeps on her pillow, not beside it, directly on it, his unimpressed face inches from hers every single morning. He sits on her laptop keyboard during video calls, glaring at her coworkers through the screen with unmatched disdain. He has knocked exactly 14 items off various shelves, purely, it seems, to watch them fall. People ask Claire if Gus ever looks happy, if that permanent glare ever softens into something resembling contentment, even briefly. Claire just scratches behind his ears, the one spot he grudgingly allows, and smiles. She doesn't need him to answer. She already knows the same way you know certain things without needing them spelled out. Because here's the thing about the grumpiest animals. They aren't choosing hostility. They're choosing self-protection, the only tool they have left after being let down by every person before you. And when they finally choose you instead, when that permanent scowl becomes the exact scowl you wake up to every morning, that isn't him softening. That's him trusting you enough to handle the truth of who he actually is, glare and all. Gus never needed Claire to fix him. He needed her to accept him exactly as he was, glare, judgment, and all, without asking him to perform gratitude he didn't feel yet, or rush toward a version of trust he wasn't ready to offer. So here's what stays with Claire sometimes, late at night, long after Gus has claimed his usual spot on her pillow. What if no one had taken the angriest cat in that shelter? What if everyone kept seeing only the scowl and missed whatever was underneath it, waiting patiently for someone willing to look past the surface? So tell me honestly, would you have looked past the grumpiest face in the shelter or scrolled right past him looking for something easier, something that seemed less likely to file a formal complaint against you? Let me know in the comments below. And if this story of an unimpressed cat who chose the right person anyway stayed with you, wait until you meet Salem, a black cat everyone warned a new mother to give up before her baby was even born. What he ended up proving to her entire family is next.